Oh, it's looking good. Coffee's flowing. It's time to get going.
Hey, welcome back to Questions Over Coffee. My name's Kevin Smith. Good to see you again. Want a cup of coffee? Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you don't miss anything that's coming up on Questions Over Coffee. If you have a comment or a question, leave it in the section below. We'll get to it just as fast as we can. Today's question is, how can I help my kids and, well, let's face it, myself through this time of quarantine? If you're like us, you've struggled a little bit with being stuck, unable to go places like we normally would. I tell you, I'm a creature of habit, and I live and die by my schedule, and my schedule has just been flipped on its head in many ways. The normal things I do, a lot of those I'm unable to do, or they have been changed in a way that kind of just leaves me wondering, okay, what do I do now? How do I stay positive? How do I help my kids? Now, I will tell you, I am an introvert, but living at my house is an 11-year-old that is very much an extrovert. And she has struggled to stay positive, within this particular difficult time. The other three introverts at my house, myself, my wife, and my oldest, are struggling some, but not nearly as much. But what I'm going to do is give you 5 things, and maybe they will help. Maybe you will be able to think of other things that can be done as well. Number 1, spend time with God together. Read scripture, pray, talk about the things that God is blessing your family and your friends with and by. How is God protecting us? Things of that nature. Focus on what God is doing, and that will help to change our focus from, woe is me, I'm stuck inside. Number 2, get some exercise. Now, I will tell you, I'm a gym rat. I love to be in the gym. I love to exercise. It feels great, especially when I get done and the body's feeling good. My gym is closed at the moment, though. So what we have been tempted to do, myself and my kids, and maybe even my wife, I don't know, is we will stay seated a lot more. And that leads to not feeling well. That leads to struggles. So find ways to get the exercise that we need, whether that is push-ups during commercials, walking around the house or around the yard, yoga, different things. I will tell you, I am very blessed to have this huge parking lot right outside my front door, where the church is, and I can take my barbell and other weights outside and get some exercise that way. It doesn't help all the way, but it does help some. But it also allows for my kids to get outside, ride their bikes around the parking lot, or whatever the case may be, romp and play that way. So they can get the exercise they need as well. Number 3, play together. We've been given something that we haven't had in quite a while. Well, I say given. It was kind of forced on us, but still, we've been given time. Where before we had to go to work for long hours, maybe, or we had to do a number of things where the time was just not as readily available, let's say. Either we didn't see it and thereby could not use it in the right way, or whether it was seriously not being available to us. Now we're stuck. Now we're stuck inside, right? So we've got the time. Play with your kids. We recently had bought a case of dominoes. I grew up playing dominoes with my grandmother, and we bought some dominoes and taught the kids to play chicken foot, and we have had a great time doing that. Whether it's dominoes or whether it's cards, whether it's PlayStation, Xbox for you Xbox lovers, or whatever the case may be, puzzles. Play with the kids. It'll help their behavior. It'll help their attitude. It'll help you as well, because you're not just sitting around doing nothing. Sometimes, though, we just need contact with someone that is not in our family, some friends that we've been missing. So suggestion number 4 is get them together with their friends on Skype, on the phone, on FaceTime, on Zoom, other social platforms, in a sense. I don't know if that's the right word for it or not, but we've got this technology in our hands. Let's use it instead of posting garbage on Facebook about the coronavirus and all this discouraging stuff. Let's use it to our advantage and stay connected with each other. Suggestion number 5 kind of sums up many of these suggestions all in one. Seek as much normalcy as we can. My family does Taekwondo. And since the rec center has been closed, we have not been able to meet with the instructors at the rec and the rest of the class and, get our practices in and things like that. But what we have been able to do is do the practices together and do the practices with some of our friends, as long as the numbers had been less than 10, and everybody's been well. So, but seek as much normalcy as we possibly can. Are we used to reading? Well, let's keep reading. And involve our kids in that. Are we used to going out and doing yard work? Let's keep doing that and help the kids to work with us on that. Whatever the case may be, as long as it's available to us. There may be times where that is not available to us to continue with a certain activity. And of course, we need to be safe there and not do those activities. But if it is safe and if it is allowed, do it as much as we can to remain active, to remain in as much normalcy as we possibly can. This will help us to keep a right mental state, and this will help our kids to keep a right mental state as well. The quarantine is tough. Not knowing what is going to happen with this COVID 19 epidemic is tough. Will we get sick? Will we not? But what we can do is try to remain positive and try to remain focused on the things that God has given us, that God has blessed us with, that are available to us, even though our normal activities may be reduced greatly. So I have a question for you. What are you doing to remain upbeat during this epidemic? What are you doing to help yourself? What are you doing to help your kids to remain upbeat and positive during this epidemic? Leave me a comment in the section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you don't miss anything that's coming up on Questions Over Coffee. Thank you for our time together today. I look forward to the next time. Keep pressing forward.